Ever heard about the dark side of waterfront investing in Dubai? Well, let's dive in. You've probably heard this before. Waterfront properties in Dubai are always a win. People talk about flipping in 2 years and walking away rich. But I have been long enough in the market to know there's a big gap between what's promised and what actually plays out. So today we are going beyond the hype. I'm breaking down the truth behind 3 of Dubai's most talked about waterfront communities with real estate data, real appreciation figures and what I have personally observed from the investor front lines. So we'll cover Maritime City, Dubai Islands, Rashid Yatsen Marina, and by the end I'll give you my full ranking, which is good, better and best, and share exactly which one I would put my money into today. But today, before we jump in, let me tell you a quick story that really sets the tone. So a friend of mine, let's call him Ali, bought into a highly marketed project about 18 months ago. Brochures look stunning, views, pools, lifestyle, everything seemed perfect. Fast forward to today, he's struggling to resell and even getting offers below what he paid for. Why? Not because it was a bad area or even a bad building, but because he missed one crucial factor. Not all waterfronts are created equal, and that's the trap. Investors jump in based on branding or sea views, but overlook the fundamentals. Today, I want to make sure you don't fall into the same trap. So let's start with Maritime City. This one's unique. A complete peninsula, meaning water on 3 sides, nestled right between Port Rashid and Dubai's dry docks. Now, originally, this zone was meant for marine industries. Think yachts, building and ship repairs. But over the past few years, it's been transitioning. Developers are stepping in to turn this into a new residential and lifestyle destination. How big is it? We are talking 2.7 million square meters. That's massive. And the lineup of developers solid. You have Dear, DAMAC and even Omniat, especially through their luxury arm Beyond. Now here's where it gets interesting, project performance. Let's break down the last 2 years. Markasa by Dear launched around 1,800 to 2,000 dirhams price per square foot. Resale activity shows half of those deals are flat, selling at original price. The other half, around 14 to 15% gain. Respectable but nothing crazy. Harbour Lights by DAMAC saw about 18 resales, a mix between break-even and 10 to 12% profit. Again, not that bad. Oceans by Danube. Here is where things shift. Most resales are either at original price or even below. Why? Because while it looked attractive, think private pools, flexible payment plan, the launch price was already too high. Great for off-plan buyers, tough for flipping. Now here's the kicker, and most people overlook this. Maritime City doesn't yet have a school or mall in its master plan. That's a big deal, especially for end users like families. Without daily life infrastructure, you're relying purely on the project's branding or luxury features to drive value. But then, there's Omniat, like they're beyond development. It's rewriting the rules. This isn't your typical project. Think private peninsula branded residences, exclusive beaches, even a planned forest district within Peninsula Gardens. Early buyers gotten at about 2,500 price per square foot. That's serious momentum. But again, it's Omniat. It's not the location alone doing the magic, it's the product. Bottom line, in Maritime City, project and developer selection is everything. Get your entry price right and you might be sitting on gold. Get it wrong and you're just another Ali. Let's move now to Dubai Islands. Now this one has been all over the press. A master vision of 5 islands right off the coast, but let's zoom in. Right now, only Island A and Island B are active. Island A is a mixed use with a mix of developers and concepts. And this is a big one. It's right under the airport's red zone. So if you're thinking of a peaceful waterfront lifestyle, good luck. Constant plane noise is a very real issue. Add to that, 86 hotels are planned. So if you're buying here for short-term rentals, you're not just competing with other Airbnbs, you're up against hotels. The mall, once marked as the anchor of the whole plan, still on hold. New timeline 2030. That's a long wait in investor years. Now, for Island B is more promising. Nakhil's leading here with Bay Villas, Bay Grove and branded residences like Rixos Bay. Now Bay Villas, that was a gold mine. Inventory was limited, entry price were very attractive and they sold out in hours. Today resales are already up by 15 to 50%. That's this power of scarcity combined with smart branding. But let me tell you the hidden problem. There's no single master plan. That means one developer could be selling a unit at 2 million dirhams and literally across the road another one is offering a near identical unit for let's say 1.5 million dirhams. That kind of pricing fragmentation kills appreciation, especially in the mid-tier. So, if you're looking at Dubai Islands with a 2 to 3 year plan in mind, be very selective. The real upside here is long term, 5 to 7 years minimum, and only if you buy into the right product at the right time. Finally, let's talk about Rashid Yatsen Marina. And to me, this plays in a whole different league. This is massive project over 6.8 million square feet divided into 7 districts, all managed by one name, Emaar. And that right there is the magic. Because when you have one developer controlling the entire master plan, launches, pricing, supply, investor wins. Now, why is it so special? It's a tourism magnet, cruise ship dock right at the marina, which means foot traffic year round. Location wise, minutes from downtown and DIFC. That's a huge advantage over both Maritime and Dubai Islands. And for lifestyle, on another level, 430 yacht berths, high-end retail, cafes, fine dining, and then you've also got the Queen Elizabeth II ship, which is now floating hotel and home to float Dubai, the world's largest floating nightclub. Now let's get into the numbers. Let's take Seagate. The first handover already shows about 30 to 40% appreciation. Older launches, many are flat, but with Emaar's appreciation often kicks in after handover. And talking about their new launch, which is Aurea, opened about 2,680 price per square foot. That's still less than half of Blue Water or JBR, which hover around 5,500 to 6,000 price per square foot. The upside is clear. Even their design philosophy is different. Low-rise, resort-style buildings with water gardens, sunset terraces, and well spaces. You're not just buying real estate, you're buying a lifestyle. And Emaar's strategy? Always tight supply. The new Aurea Towers, that scarcity keeps resale demand healthy. So here's how I would rank them based on current fundamentals. Good, maritime city, great location but needs supporting infrastructure. You've got to pick the right project and be patient. Better, Dubai Islands. Bay Villa is gem, but the rest fragmented and long term. A play for patient capital. Best, Rashid Yatsen Marina. Well, Emaar's control, smart pricing, location and lifestyle. It's the sweet spot, especially right now. So here's the takeaway. Not all waterfront properties are created equal. What really matters is who controls a master plan, how supply is managed, and your timing. If you're serious about investing smart, not just buying for the view, I've put together a full breakdown with real beach access, marina berths, infrastructure plans, and where I see the next 20% gain. Just DM me PDF at the number on the screen and I will send it over personally. So if you want to know more or are interested in this project, then contact me on the number given below and I'll catch you back in the next video.